Hey everyone, welcome to the Happy Flosser podcast. My name is Billy Lunt. I'm your host, and I'm here to talk to you about all things dental hygiene to support you on your journey through the dental hygiene program. And sometimes you need more support than others. Today's topic is something that just came up in conversation with some dental hygiene students. And to be honest with you guys, this is a conversation that's taking place with faculty as well. It's all about the lead apron and thyroid collar. So I really appreciate you guys all joining me. So because we're going to dive into a topic that's been everywhere lately, you can't avoid the lead apron conversation. It's in the clinics, it's online, social media. Maybe it's in your group chat. I don't know because I'm not part of those group chats. The lead shielding. Yeah. The humble lead apron and thyroid collar has suddenly become the center of conversation. So, as a student, if you are confused about what is required, what is recommended, and what you're actually supposed to be doing, if you're asked a question on maybe your board exams, I just want you to know. And honestly, this is like the center of everything I do. You are not alone, right? So that's why I'm having this conversation. This podcast episode is not to make or break the decisions that's going on around the country. It's really just to break it down in a way that makes sense, hopefully. Because I honestly don't know what direction we're supposed to go either. So let's first talk about what's going on. Let's start with the basics. So, for decades, lead aprons and thyroid collars were the gold standard, right? And we want to practice at the highest level. They were symbolic of safety, protection. As a matter of fact, as a student, you would get a critical error if you forgot to put the lead apron on your patient, right, before you took a radiograph. We just did not take x-rays without the lead apron or thyroid protection because we know how sensitive certain organs in our body are to the exposure of radiation. But here's the thing, technology has changed. Think of it just in my career, and it might sound like a long career, but in the grand scheme of dentistry and radiography, I I haven't been really in the career that long, 30 years. But in my 30 years, boy, has radiology shifted, right? We have digital sensors, we have rectangular collimation, we have faster exposure times, all of those things. Now, keep in mind, dentistry, the bones of the mouth are relatively small comparison to the rest of the body anyway. So just starting as our baseline as being a really small amount of radiation. When we sit at different tables with people that are radiology people, dentistry is looked at as kind of like on the low end to begin with. Now you add in things like digital sensors and rectangular collimation and faster exposure times. All of those things dramatically reduce scatter radiation, which we know are all the bad things, right? So because it reduces the scatter radiation and the science has evolved over time, right? The evidence, we all watch and are learning constant evolving changes. Some of the professional organizations started reevaluating whether or not shielding was a necessary thing. And that's where all the different conversations started. And I have to tell you guys, full disclosure, even the program directors and department chairs across the country are having these conversations and saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? Well, what are you doing? And what do you think? And what do you think? Right. So I know if the program coordinators and department chairs are having these conversations, then the students are probably like, all right, what am I doing? What are we doing? So I want you to look at it as a positive thing. The fact that we're reevaluating, which is what we should always be doing, evaluating what we do, why we do it, and then really contemplating if we know more, we do better, right? Every time we learn more information, we have to pivot. And I think one of my least favorite quotes that people say is, well, we've always done it this way. That is that is actually a sentence that makes my heart shiver. I don't think you should ever rely on something just because that's what you've always done. Because what that does is that creates complacency without question. It removes curiosity, it removes growth and opportunity and learning and development. And so I'm actually excited about this conversation. So that's kind of what's going on and like where we started. And that's where the conversations begin. And now, depending on where you are, you might be hearing different answers, which is so fun when you're a student. Not really. Well, so let's actually talk about what the new guidelines actually say. Now, here's the part that students want clarity on. What do the new recommendations actually say? So the updated guidance from radiology and dental organizations suggests that the routine-led shielding may no longer be necessary because of modern equipment already keeps the patient exposure rate extremely low. But, sometimes it's hard to really look at that research and say, is that true? Because it's scary, right? It's radiation. And this is the part that matters for you. State regulated dental radiography is different. So schools follow state rules, boards follow state rules, and offices follow state rules. So, states regulate dental radiography different. So depending on what state you're in. So, so you might see, like if you go to a convention and you're talking to other students, you might see that your school requires shielding and your board's required shielding and your office is not using shielding, or the other way around. You may be in a school where we're not requiring shielding, and then you go into an externship in an office and they're requiring shielding. And all of these things can be true at the very same time, which is hard. So if you're feeling whiplash as a student, I want you to know that that's completely normal. You are learning in the middle of a transition period, and that can feel messy, but it's actually a great example of what growth looks like. As a group, as a collective in the field of dentistry, we're going to take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. We're going to have a little resistance on the change. We're going to ask the questions, but we are going to move forward safely and effectively. So here's what I want you to remember. Your job is to follow the rules of the environment you're in. Your school may require shielding because that's what your state mandates. Your boards may test you on shielding because that's what their exam blueprint includes, and the office you work in may follow updated guidelines that don't require it. None of that means that you're wrong. It means that you are practicing in a profession that is evolving. Remain curious, follow the research, ask the questions. But here's the hard part. Now you have to try to educate your patients on what is going on. And this part could probably be a little stressful for you as a student. So think about a script that you could put together and confidently say to a patient. Now, when you're in school, your faculty will give you a script to help you based on whatever decision that school decided was the right decision to do. So come up with a script that you can feel comfortable with saying to a patient. Maybe it sounds something like, our digital equipment always keeps radiation extremely low, and current recommendations show that shielding does not add any additional protection for most patients. That said, if you feel more comfortable wearing one, I'm happy to provide it. So think about what your script is intending to do. It's intending to educate the patient, open up the conversation, make the patient aware of some of the changes going on. It also provides supportive reassurance, and it respects the patient's autonomy. Now, if a patient pushes back, just stay calm and confident. You're not arguing with your patient, you're informing your patient. And at the end of the day, the patient can make whatever choice they would like to make. So it's all about slow steps in the right direction. So here's the big takeaway. You are entering a profession during a shift. How great is that? And that's not a bad thing. It means that you are learning to think critically. You're learning to see what staying current actually looks like. And one of the more important skills, you're learning to adapt, which is exactly what great clinicians do. So I want you guys to really lean in on that challenge. All right. If this episode helped clear things up for you, or at least give you some kind of reassurance that change is messy and sometimes hard, right? Share it with a classmate who's stressing about this topic. I really appreciate you spending time with me today. I hope you're walking away with something that makes your journey in dental hygiene school feel a little bit lighter and a lot more possible. If this episode supported with you, and if you want more tools, notes, and encouragement, you can always find them linked in the show description. I post supportive videos and learning opportunities on TikTok and Instagram every single week to help you continue to grow and learn. Be sure to check out those resources as well. No one gets through dental hygiene school alone. Until next time, keep showing up for yourself, one step, one skill, and one breath at a time. I'm here for you every step of the way, guys. Have a great week.